In one of the most exciting games of the season, on a back-to-back in New York, Montreal comes out with the victory. Caufield scores, Dach scores, and Montembeault is a monster. I'll be breaking down everything that happened on this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's game reaction edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse. And guys, quickly before we get into the video, if you're here and you haven't subscribed, that's about 70% of you guys. Hit that button now. You guys haven't been hitting it as much recently, but you have been hitting the like button when I've been asking you to, so keep up with that. We love your support. God, that was an insane game. I mean, right from the get-go, the pace was wild, and it didn't slow down for a second. Right off the bat, Caufield with a filthy move, and, New York is lucky he didn't end up going to the net and scoring on that play. Filthy move right off the bat, and you could see Montreal was playing with a level of energy that we saw just a couple nights ago in Montreal. It was nuts. The pace of this game right off the bat was back and forth, chances for each team. And really the story of this game was that it was a goalie battle. Igor Shesterkin versus Sam Montembeault, clearly two of the best goalies in the NHL, obviously. And I mean, Montembeault came out on top tonight. It was kind of crazy. In the first period, Caufield with that sweet chance. Slafkovsky and Dvorak on not back-to-back plays, but one soon after another, each with amazing chances. Slav was more of a trailer on the break with a great look at the net. Dvorak on a breakaway, couldn't pot it home. And then Montembeault on the other end, there was a run or a rush from Lafreniere, Kako, and Zibanejad, where Montembeault had to make 2 or 3 point-blank saves on great passes, plus the puck ends up landing right near the blue paint. Montembeault reaches back and scrapes the puck off the goal line with his paddle when Lafreniere goes for a shot. Just insane from both goalies in the first period. Like, I have written down here, how was it 0-0? And I wrote that down not 10 minutes into the game, because it felt like it should have been 2-2, maybe 4-2 for a team. It was nuts. Go watch the highlights if you haven't. I don't even think that the highlights will do this game justice. It's one of those games you had to watch live, because I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. There was not a moment where I was like, this is boring. It was nuts. I mean, Montembeault, don't forget, he started yesterday, also in New York against the Islanders, obviously different arena, but he put on a great performance just last night, putting up, 36 saves with a .947 save percentage. Okay, before I get into the rest of the stuff that happened in this game, let me just break down Samuel Montembeault for you guys. Our boy Dikembe Montembeault. Tonight, 38 saves and a .974 save percentage in the win. Yesterday, 36 saves, .947 save percentage, and the loss. The game before that, against Nashville, 39 saves, .929 save percentage, with the win. Game before that, against Seattle, 37 saves, .925 save percentage, in a 4-0 loss. So he has 38, 36, 39, 37 saves, with a .974, .947, .925, and .929 save percentage. He has been phenomenal these last 4 games, and he's 2-2 to show for it. Montreal's offense hasn't been able to click. I mean, even tonight we only scored 2 goals, but this guy has been insane. I don't have an animation. I'll just do the finger wag in the screen just for the Dikembe meme itself, but holy crap, Montembeault. This guy single-handedly won us this game. He's single-handedly kept Montreal in each of the last 4. We saw a stretch similar to this at the beginning of the season, and then he sort of trailed off a bit. But now with Jake Allen injured, and he knows he's the man, and he doesn't want to force Caden Primo into an uncomfortable situation, he's just going for it. 2 games in less than 24 hours, because today's Sunday game was an early start, and it looked like he had 2 weeks full of rest. Phenomenal run from Montembeault. My Montembeault speech is over. We'll get on to the rest of the game. So right after Monty was making these insane saves, we had another break where I think it was Dvorak and Slafkovsky. Dvorak with a great pass over to Slafkovsky, who was robbed blind by Shesterkin, who again, as I mentioned, was also insane in this game. So Dvorak passes all the way across. Slav is on the left side of the net, I guess on Shesterkin's right. Shesterkin dives on the ground, reaches his blocker up, just throws his hand in the air, and gets a piece of the puck. It was a goalie battle, robberies on both ends of the ice. And after the first period, it was 0-0. And it was just like, this game was beyond crazy. So the first period was one of the most exciting periods of hockey all season. Nothing negative to say. The only negative I could maybe say is that we were letting New York get to our net a bit more than we would like, and Montembeault was bailing us out, but we were doing the same thing to them. It was a very even first period, a very fun, exciting first period, which is exactly what you want if you're on Team Tank, right? You maybe want Montreal to lose. I know they won tonight. I'm sorry about that, but it's exciting when the players are playing with heart. It's a fun game to watch. What is worse than a terrible team that's boring to watch? Nothing. Montreal is a team that's maybe below average, but they are fun every single night. These guys are showing up, whether it's Montembeault, Kirby Dach, Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Caufield, Goulet, and I'm leaving so many guys out like Jack. I could literally name almost everyone on the roster, except maybe Evgeny Dadonov. So, anyway, getting into the second period. The second period was maybe not crazier, but it's when we finally got some scoring. Early on in the second, it was Kirby Dach on a nice little 3-on-2. He just kind of got the puck, waited a second, and sniped it right over Shesterkin's glove, right from the slot. Perfect setup, perfect goal. Kirby Dach is on the board. He's at 27 points in 44 games this season. Again, slowed down after his extremely hot start. But that 27 points marks a new career high for our boy. 27 points is his career high. I know. Last season was his old career high with 26 points in, I think, like 80 games, 70-something games. He's at 27 and 44 this season. Would not surprise me. He'll probably finish with somewhere around 50, 55 points, which is amazing for a 21-year-old guy who played center tonight with the lack of Jake Evans, who, by the way, is not hurt as badly as we thought he was, so hopefully we'll see him back on the ice pretty soon. But yeah, that second period started off great, and then Montreal, we showed that we had a good penalty kill again tonight. I know that was a huge weakness, especially during that losing streak, but our boys really brought it together tonight and fought hard on the penalty kill. The problem is on this one, right after the penalty was killed, I think it was Anderson and Armia were both out there for almost the whole penalty kill, and then stayed on because there was another delayed penalty against Montreal. It was 6-on-5. Now, I don't know if they'll show this in the highlight reel. They probably won't. But if you're watching the game, let me know if during that delayed penalty you also thought Montreal touched the puck, or at least had possession. Like, I thought Montreal had enough possession for the whistle to be blown, but the refs didn't blow it. They let play go on, and what happens but an exhausted Montreal penalty kill unit that's still stuck on the ice for this other delayed penalty. They have a little bit of a lapse. Artemi Panarin gets a shot in the slot, and he's the one guy on the Rangers that you do not want to give that shot to. He pots it. It's 1-1. Probably shouldn't have been a goal because I think the whistle should have blown for the delayed penalty, but I digress. It's 1-1. You give up a goal to Artemi Panarin. If you're playing the Rangers, you're kind of like, okay, that might happen anyway. But still, the penalty kill was good. And honestly, in that second period, one of the main takeaways for me was that Montreal was blocking a lot of shots. One big one from Kirby Dach where he slides in front of a bad point shot, takes it right off the leg, and he is wincing in pain, but he gets right back up and back in the play. Our boys were tough tonight. Not only were they playing with a ton of effort, a ton of spark, they were tough and really working hard. Yeah, and that really paid dividends going into the third period because it's 1-1. The Habs just let in a goal that they're kind of upset that they let in, and nothing really Montembeault could do when you leave Panarin wide open in the slot like that. So in the third, they needed to do something. But it didn't start that well because the Rangers were getting some decent pressure. I mean, Rangers and Montreal too. Overall, this was a pretty even game, but the Rangers were getting a few odd man rushes, and it was a little scary. And there was a breakaway chance for the Rangers there a few minutes into the third. But who else but Jordan Harris? You can barely see him on the screen when the breakaway starts, but he gets all the way back to lift the stick. I forget who was on the breakaway for the Rangers. Might have been Panarin, might have been Zibanejad. But, man, what a back check from Harris to stop that breakaway opportunity. The defense was leaving it all on the line, even though we gave up, 40 shots? 39 shots again today. Our defense was working hard. We were blocking shots. Harris, by the way, had 22 minutes time on ice. Compare that to Jack Eye's 11. Jordan Harris has been very impressive the last few games, so keep an eye on him as the season goes on, as maybe a guy who won't get scratched as much. I think he took those healthy scratches as a real lesson to be learned, and he's been a lot better recently, so good job, Jordan. But yeah, Montembeault, even after that, like, there were so many chances in close where the Rangers were getting right to Montembeault where he's had to make point-blank saves on one-timers, a great sliding across save with a blocker on a one-timer. He was amazing, and again, he's the reason we were in this game, because off a Monty save, we come the other way. Suzuki, Caufield, and Armia was the top line tonight, and man, like, they were sparking. But it was mostly Suzuki and Caufield. Armia was fine, but Suzuki and Caufield were everywhere tonight. Like I said, right off the bat, those guys looked like they had a newfound energy. Last game, Suzuki, I said he didn't have his best game of the season until he scored. Tonight, he looked like maybe the best player on the ice. He was so good. He gets into the Rangers zone. There was a bit of a miscommunication between Trouba and Keandre Miller behind the net. The puck just kind of gets left, and Nick Suzuki feeds it right out front, point blank. Who else but Cole Caufield? And he pots it. I mean, what is Shesterkin supposed to do when there's no one guarding Caufield right in front of the net, maybe 2 feet out? He pots it. His 26th goal of the season, back on pace for 49. He's that close to that 50-goal threshold right now, and if Montreal keeps playing, well, at least that top line keeps playing like they did tonight, wouldn't it be crazy to see Caufield, a guy on a team that people expected to be near the bottom of the league, a team that just picked first overall? Those kind of teams do not often get 50-goal scores. I don't know the numbers on it, but it cannot be very common. If Caufield can hit 50, I don't even know what is in store for this kid because he is amazing. So he puts that in, it's 2-1, and the rest of the game is really Montreal trying to stop New York. Now, actually, we did have a good chance. Suzuki had a partial breakaway. K'Andre Miller came back with an insane stick play to stop that break, so good on him. But yeah, the rest of the game was Montreal trying to hold New York off, and they did a pretty good job. We had some great kills, not even kills, just like 5-on-5 zone exits to make sure that New York wasn't getting as much time as they would have wished in the offensive zone. And when Shesterkin was finally pulled, we played really well. We were tipping passes, we were blocking shots, we weren't letting New York get to their spots, and in the final seconds there was one opportunity where it went right through the crease, but other than that, Edmondson picks it up and the game ends, and Montreal comes out with a huge victory. And what do I take away from this game? Cole Caufield scores again on pace for 49. Suzuki gets a nice assist. Kirby Dach gets back in the goal column with his 27th point career high. Yes, Caufield on pace for 49. Montembeault, last 4 games have been insane. We gotta start letting up fewer shots because that dude is making 35 plus saves every single night for this team. He is getting shelled, but he is keeping us in every single game. Above a 925 save percentage in each of his last 4 with, what was it, a 974 tonight on 38 shots? 38 saves on 39 shots. Phenomenal. Slafkovsky had another great game, playing with energy, playing with speed. Man, I'm so happy. I can't wait for Jake Evans to get back. I can't wait for Monahan to get back. Gooley. Because this team is starting to look really fun again. Our young guys are playing well. Ylonen, Barron looked pretty solid. So, man, it was just a good win. Right? It's nice. You go into New York, you lose 2-1 on a game that you feel like you could have won, and then you win a game against the Rangers 2-1 where you hold a decent team with some really good players really off the score sheet besides one goal that debatably shouldn't have even accounted. So, I'm super happy with this game. It's one of those games that, again, you don't mind in a tanking year. It's a nice win. It's a character win. It shows these guys show that effort. It shows that they're developing game after game. The weaknesses that we see from one game are not carrying over to the next, which is so important for a team that wants to compete in a few years' time. So I'm really excited, really happy with what happened tonight, and I hope you guys are too. But that'll do it for this game reaction edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We love your guys' support, and we hope it continues. I'm Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next video.